had these purple and white sneakers on. And Jackie's only, like 5'2". She's a tiny woman. But she has large feet, size 9.5.
Right.
And matter of fact, when we first got together and we were laying in bed, her damn feet were blocking the TV. I couldn't see the TV. So anyway, she had on these purple and white sneakers, and she said to me, "Do these shoes make my feet look big?" I said, "Oh no, your feet make those shoes look big." And I don't know, it hit me, and I did a blog about it, and it was
right.
Like
That's funny.
Popular one.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's good to talk about, something different once in a while,
Yeah, people like that kind of wacky stuff.
Let me ask you, Bob. Were you always a progressive like you are now, or when you were younger, did you have different views?
Yeah, mostly. I have to tell you, many years ago, I started my career as a journalist, and so I was, always trying to be fair. But my own personal viewpoint has been pretty much to side with the progressive side of things. And but during the 1970s, I was chief of staff for a Republican congressman.
Republican.
I worked for him for 5 years. He was considered to be a moderate to liberal Republican. His name was Ed Forsyth from New Jersey.
A liberal Republican. You don't hear that anymore.
Moderate, back in the day.
There's like two of them.
There were things like that.
Yeah.
But after 5 years, I had enough of him, and Jim Florio, who was a Democratic congressman from New Jersey, was a friend of mine, and he asked me if I would be interested in coming to work for him as his chief of staff, and decided that I wanted to do that. He was a young, up-and-coming, moderate to liberal Democrat, and while I didn't agree with a couple of his positions, I generally liked his approach to things, especially his approach with respect to the environment and senior citizens and the average person, so on. And so I did. I took that job, and I worked for him for 2 years. Jim Florio was a very aggressive congressman who wanted to be governor. And
you said of Jersey, right?
Eventually ran for governor, was elected. When he ran for governor, I left. I did not want to go back to New Jersey. I had lived there prior to my time in Washington for a number of years and had worked for United Press International at the State House in Trenton, covered politics there. And that's where I met both Forsyth and Florio.
Right.
So after a couple of years of working for Florio, and he decided to run for governor, I decided to open up a communications business. And I did that. I did some political media consulting, and then I kind of moved to doing, I set up a news service for business magazines, trade magazines. And I did that for, I don't know, 25 years, I guess. And
wow.
And
this was your own business, Bob, right?
Yeah, it was. I built that business. I ended up doing a lot of work for trade associations,
nice,
communications consulting, and so on. And so I ended up developing a background and experience that was pretty broad, mostly focused on Capitol Hill. Even the business magazines that I was writing for, most of it was covering Washington for their readers from, to provide information about their own line of business. And
so you've been in
doing some work for some of the allied trade associations. And then I decided to retire after a long time and moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where I live now and where I met Red. And a couple of years ago, I started Not Fake News, really just to give me a outlet I can't just sit on my butt and not say anything.
Right.
Right.
Now, Bob, did you attend college, or you just?
Yeah, I did. I went to Point Park College in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And but while I was there, I ended up taking a job for the Pittsburgh Courier, which is a black paper in Pittsburgh, and I'm very proud of this. I was the first white reporter they ever hired.
Nice.
Wow.
I broke the color line at the Pittsburgh
There you
Courier.
go. First white guy.
I was
So
like,
that was-
I don't know what, 19, 20 years old, and but it was a kick. I was covering crime and politics. And,
Yeah.
Right.
it was a kick.
So in the early 70s, during the Vietnam era and the Nixon era, were you involved in politics at that point yet, or did you just miss the draft? Where were you in that age? I always find that such an interesting period.
Well, I enlisted. I was I enlisted in the Army, but on the day that I was to leave, it was really incredible. The day I was to leave to get sworn in, they came and got me. They had determined that they had found out that years ago I'd had asthma.
Right.
They said, well, you'll never make it through basic training. So I was kicked out.
So asthma saved your life.
I had been accepted to jump school and aerial photography school. And it's a good thing now, because I would have probably been one of those guys in those bamboo cages.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you were not a anti-war protester during that period.
No. But my journalism career moved pretty quickly, and in 1968, I was bureau chief for United Press International in Trenton, New Jersey, and they assigned me to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, which I covered.
Right.
And I was one of those guys in the park that got whacked over the head by the cops and tear gassed and all that.
Right.
And so yeah. And then I went to work on Capitol Hill in 1970, and
so you were there through the whole Nixon.
doing Watergate, and was working for Forsyth, the Republican. He was going like,